Every year, tens of thousands of people are killed or seriously injured in side-impact collisions. And for a long time, the automotive industry had a genuine blind spot when it came to this type of crash. Picture this scenario. You're driving through an intersection, and a distracted driver runs a red light, striking the side of your car at high speed. In a frontal crash, your vehicle has several feet of engineered crumple zone. Steel, aluminum, and a carefully designed structure, all working together to absorb energy before it reaches you. In a side crash, there are just a few inches of a structure and door panel between you and the impact. No buffer, no margin. That vulnerability is exactly what the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety set out to expose, and then fix, with the introduction of its side impact test in the early 2000s. This is the story of how that test reshaped the industry, forced automakers to take side protection seriously, and ultimately saved thousands of lives. For years, government side impact standards existed, but they were relatively modest. They simulated a compact car striking the test vehicle. As the SUV boom took hold through the 90s, that standard became increasingly disconnected from reality. Heavier, taller vehicles were striking cars in the real world at a rate that was growing every year, and the government test simply wasn't capturing that danger. In 2003, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety introduced its own, far more demanding side impact test. The new barrier weighed approximately 3,300 pounds, heavier than the government version, and critically, it had a higher striking face that more closely matched the geometry of a real-world SUV. This barrier strikes the side of the vehicle at 31 miles per hour. This wasn't a minor technical distinction. The taller, heavier barrier hit vehicles higher up on their doors and B-pillar, exactly where occupants sit. The force transferred directly into their survival space. The results of those early tests were sobering. When the side test was introduced, the majority of vehicles failed to earn a good rating. Structural performance, how well the vehicle's body held its shape and preserved survival space for occupants, was the most critical factor. And in test after test, vehicles collapsed in ways that put people at severe risk. The 2004 Dodge Stratus is one of the more alarming early examples. The vehicle's structure struggled badly to withstand the barrier, with significant intrusion into the occupant compartment. The B-pillar, the structural column that separates the front and rear door, bent heavily inward, consuming the space that an occupant would need to survive. The 2005 Mitsubishi Lancer and Nissan Altima showed similar failures. Their side structures were simply not equipped for what this test demanded. Vans and trucks weren't immune either. The 2006 Chevrolet Uplander, a minivan marketed to families, performed poorly in the structural evaluation. The 2006 Ford Crown Victoria, widely used in police fleets and as a taxi, showed structural compromise that was particularly striking given its reputation as a durable workhorse. Perhaps the most prominent structural failure came from a pickup truck. The 2009 Chevrolet Silverado produced a shocking result: severe B-pillar intrusion that pushed deep into the driver's survival space. For a truck marketed on strength and toughness, the images from this test told a very different story. Beyond structural collapse, the test also revealed serious injury risks from torso and pelvis loading. Even in vehicles where the structure held up reasonably well, the forces transferring through the door and seat were enough to produce dangerous injury readings in the dummy. The 2003 Honda Element, a boxy, youth-oriented SUV, recorded high driver torso injury readings. The forces transferring through the door structure were enough to produce dangerous loading on the ribs and internal organs, a reminder that even newer vehicles were not automatically well protected in this test. The 2008 Chrysler PT Cruiser produced similarly concerning torso injury readings. And the 2007 Hyundai Accent, a compact built around affordability, showed elevated torso and pelvis injury measures, creating real consequences for the people inside. As troubling as structural collapse and internal injuries were, the most alarming results involved the head. In a side impact crash, unrestrained heads travel toward hard surfaces at high speed. Without protection, this can produce catastrophic brain injuries. And in the early years of the side test, a startling number of vehicles lacked side curtain airbags, the inflatable cushions that deploy from the roofline to shield occupants' heads from striking hard surfaces. Today, curtain airbags are so ubiquitous that it's genuinely difficult to imagine a time when they weren't standard equipment. But in 2003 and 2004, many vehicles either didn't offer them at all or had them only as expensive options that most buyers simply didn't select. The consequences were graphic. The 2004 Mitsubishi Galant went through the test without adequate head protection, and the dummy's head physically struck and dented the steel barrier. The same happened with the 2004 Mazda 6 and Toyota Camry, three popular mainstream sedans, three dummies whose heads made contact with the barrier hard enough to leave visible deformation in the steel. These weren't fringe or budget vehicles. The Camry was, and still is, one of the best-selling cars in the United States. The 2004 Saturn L produced a particularly frustrating result. It was equipped with a curtain airbag, but the deployment was insufficient to prevent the dummy's head from contacting the barrier. The airbag was present, but it simply wasn't enough. These results forced the industry to confront the fact that head protection in side impacts needed to improve, dramatically and immediately. Here's the thing about crash tests. Their real value isn't just in identifying problems. It's in what happens after those problems are publicly exposed. As the side test results made headlines and found their way into consumer decision-making, automakers faced enormous pressure to respond. Those who acted quickly produced some of the most remarkable safety improvements in the industry's history. The Dodge Grand Caravan provides a compelling before and after. The 2006 model had meaningful head protection and injury deficiencies. By 2008, as part of the vehicle redesign, Chrysler had made targeted improvements that dramatically changed the test outcome, including adding curtain airbags as standard equipment. It was a clear demonstration that these weren't insurmountable engineering challenges. The Honda CR-V tells an even more instructive story. The 2003 CR-V tested without side airbags had major issues. In 2005, Honda strengthened the B-pillar and made side airbags standard on the CR-V, and the head protection results improved substantially. Then in 2007, further structural refinements pushed the vehicle to a strong overall performance. One of the world's most popular compact SUVs had been transformed into a leader in side impact protection. These are the stories that don't always make the headlines, but they represent the system working exactly as it should. In the decade following the test's introduction, most vehicles had adopted curtain airbags and improved their structural performance. Progress was real and measurable. But since the test came out, the American road had changed dramatically. SUV and truck sales had surged for 2 decades straight, and the vehicles themselves had grown substantially heavier. A full-size pickup or 3-row SUV today can weigh well over 6,000 pounds. A mid-size sedan being struck by one of these vehicles in the real world faces a very different threat than what the original test was simulating. The mismatch between the lab and reality had become too significant to ignore. In 2021, the Insurance Institute introduced an updated side test featuring a significantly heavier barrier, approximately 4,200 pounds, designed to more accurately represent today's heavier SUVs and trucks. The barrier's impact speed was also increased to 37 miles per hour, producing a substantially more severe test overall. And once again, the results were humbling. Vehicles that had earned good ratings under the original test suddenly struggled under the new one. The 2022 Subaru Crosstrek and Chevrolet Malibu, and the 2022 Nissan Altima, the same model family that had stumbled back in 2005, all fell well short of acceptable performance. The 2021 Nissan Murano and Honda HR-V fared no better. And the 2024 Kia Carnival, a newer design with no excuse rooted in age, disappointed as well. These weren't borderline results. These were vehicles that consumers had every reason to trust based on their prior ratings, and the new test revealed that trust hadn't been fully earned. It was the same pattern that played out with the original side test 2 decades earlier. Raise the bar, and the bar exposes what comfortable standards had been hiding. The world had gotten heavier and faster, and a meaningful portion of the vehicle lineup hadn't kept pace. But if the original side test taught us anything, it's that the industry is capable of rapid improvement when put under the pressure of public results. And the updated side test is already proving that point. The 2023 Honda Accord improved dramatically over the 2022 model, with engineers redesigning side structure and airbag coverage specifically to meet the demands of the new standard. The 2024 Subaru Impreza showed substantial gains over the 2022 version for the same reasons. The pattern is consistent across decades of testing: expose, respond, improve. The public pressure created by transparent test results produces safety incentives that regulations alone often can't generate as quickly. To fully appreciate the progress, it helps to look at a single vehicle nameplate across a span of more than 2 decades. Consider the Chevrolet Colorado. The 2008 Colorado, tested under the original side evaluation, had real structural and injury measure deficiencies. Now look at the 2025 Colorado. It's being tested under the far more demanding updated side impact protocol, a heavier barrier, a higher impact speed, a more severe test in every dimension. And yet the 2025 Colorado performs substantially better than its 2008 predecessor, despite facing a far harder challenge. That is the compounding impact of decades of testing, public accountability, and sustained engineering investment. The cars on the road today, even the ones that fall short of a good rating in the newest test, are dramatically safer than what came before. Side impact crashes remain among the most dangerous types of collisions on the road. The laws of physics haven't changed, and the absence of a meaningful crumple zone between an occupant and an impacting vehicle is still a fundamental challenge. But the side test, both in its original form and its updated version, has proven to be one of the most consequential safety tools in the history of the automobile. It exposed a vulnerability that the industry was ignoring. It demanded better. And the industry, despite all the initial failures, ultimately delivered better. This next video is the story about cars that failed the passenger small overlap crash test